Greetings, my fellow freeloaders. This is Freeze News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Thursday, April 14th, 2017. Yes, it's nice and hot. Now the breeze is coming back. Good grief. For the past couple of days, people were sweltering. I know power is coming on along South Florida. Others going to take a while, and it's very disturbing. Don't get me wrong. Some folks, because there's an investigation happening in Hollywood with the nursing homes. There's like 8 people died, and others are in a critical condition. Who are they going to point the finger at? That's the question. So I'm just kicking back. I'm at CJ's Java Lounge, located at 400 Southwest First Avenue, Suite 1, along the New River of Fort Lauderdale, southwest corner of the Andrews Avenue Bridge. So I'm going to be addressing a few topics here. And actually, this one came out today. 5:23 a.m. Eastern Time. It's from the FloridaBulldog.org. And this is by Dan Christensen. It's entitled FBI Probe of Tie Between Saudi Ambassador, Al-Qaeda Leader Put on Ice. Interesting, right? Yeah. 14 years the FBI kept secret that a top Al-Qaeda leader captured in Pakistan in 2002 possessed the unlisted phone number of an offshore company tied to Saudi Arabia's U.S. Ambassador Prince Bandar bin Sultan. The news got out last year after President Obama ordered the release of the 28 pages, a long-suppressed chapter of a 2003 congressional report on 9/11, also disclosed FBI agents in Denver were assigned to investigate the company. There's a link below on this article pertaining that you can read for yourselves. And it's interesting. So it will continue on here. Also disclosed FBI agents in Denver were assigned to investigate the company AFCO Corporation, which the FBI described as the umbrella corporation that manages the Colorado residence of Prince Bandar. It's been talked about in other areas too, if I'm correct. Newsbuzz is the same thing. But agents assigned to investigate AFCO, whose unlisted number was found in the phone book of high-value Guantanamo detainee Abu Zubaydah, quickly suspended the probe. The Denver office did not attempt to make any local inquiries about AFCO, as they believed that any inquiries regarding AFCO would quickly known by Prince Bandar's employees. 28 pages said, due to the sensitivity of this matter, they decided to hold an investigation of AFCO in abeyance until they received additional guidance from FBI headquarters. The guidance Washington gave its Denver agents is not known, and FBI spokesman won't discuss it. It now appears, however, that the FBI never restarted its suspended investigation. 2 witnesses told Florida Bulldog the FBI never contacted them to inquire about AFCO. Witnesses not interviewed. One witness owned a company identified in 28 pages of Congress joint inquiry into 9/11 as having provided security at Bandar's magnificent 15-bedroom, 16-bath residence in Aspen, known as Hala Ranch. Others is a well-known Washington attorney who helped incorporate AFCO and served on its board of directors. The FBI's Denver office identified the company as Scimitar Security, but provided no other details about it. Colorado corporate records identified Scimitar's president as Hans Marschler. An interview Marschler, who now resides near Houston, confirmed that he owned the now closed Scimitar Security, and the company had worked with at Hala Ranch. Ooh, this is getting pretty cute, right? It's very small operation, one person during the day and one at night. We spent time watching the house. People came to work. We kept an eye on them. Marshall said, the FBI never contacted me. Masr added that when Bandar was presented, he was accompanied by additional heavy security. They brought in their whole teams, he said. Whoever was head of security, I don't know. Another Scimitar Security, this one is still an active company based in San Diego, California, has a connection to allegations of terrorism, but owner Abdul Halim Mustafa said his firm never worked for Asko, Bandar, or anywhere outside of California. Mustafa's son is Jihad Soren Mustafa, who is wanted by the FBI, who is alleged terrorist activities and acting as an operating member of Al-Shalbah, a Somalian-based terrorist organization with ties to Al-Qaeda. Oh, see, it's like the domino effect. You're connecting the dots. An indictment charging Mustafa as a U.S. citizen who was licensed as a security guard from 2000 to 2006 with conspiracy to provide material support to terrorists and provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization was unsealed in 2010. The U.S. had a $5 million bounty on Mustafa's head. Oh, something to look at, right? Yeah, hey man, let's use him as a scapegoat, allegedly. He's the patsy, the weak link. Take him out. The Duttons of Arabia, the second person with information about Asko. The FBI never contacted its Washington attorney, Nancy Dutton. Dutton represented the Saudi embassy for several decades last year. Similarly, she represented the Saudi Foreign Ministry from 1975 until about 2 years ago. Dutton and her late husband, Fred Dutton, an attorney, a key strategist to many big-name Democrats in the 1960s and 1970s, who later became a counselor to Prince Bandar and a lobbyist for Saudi Arabia. Incorporated Asko in Curaçao, Netherlands, Antilles in December 1988 and later served on its board of directors. No, the FBI never called me, and I doubt whether they called Fred, or I would have known it, said Dutton. A White House aide under President Kennedy, she declined further comment. Another person involved with Asko is Aspen attorney William Willie Jordan III, who would not be interviewed. Jordan represented Bandar's interests in the area as served as Asko's managing director for many years before it was liquidated and closed in January 2014. The island of Curaçao is a financial center in the Caribbean known for strict banking secrecy that has facilitated drug-related crime. The U.S. currently lists the tiny country that's part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands and as jurisdiction of primary concern where money laundering occurs through real estate purchases and international tax shelters. Records show that a month after Espanco NV was incorporated, it paid $3.5 million for a 90 acres in Aspen. The mansion was constructed in 1991. Pitkin County property records show that Asko sold the property for $49 million in May 2012. Bandar was Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the U.S. from 1983 to 2005. He was close to the President George W. Bush, earning him the nickname Bandar Bush. The White House photo, taken 2 days after the 9/11, shows Bandar on the White House's Truman balcony with Bush, Vice President Dick Cheney, and National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice. Birds of a feather flock together, right? Absolutely. Bandar's interview secret. The 9/11 Commission interviewed Bandar on October 7, 2003. The government continues to keep secret the interview, citing national security. They're so special. Yeah, we're the government. We can do it, but you can't. They're exceptional. In October 2014, in prison, 9/11 conspirator Zacchaeus Mazzawi gave a deposition to attorneys representing the victims of the 9/11 2001 terror attacks on New York and Washington, D.C. He talked about how his superiors in Al-Qaeda had tasked him with creating a digital database of the group's donors. Shaikh Osama wanted to keep a record of who gave the money to the jihad. Mazzawi said, according to a transcript, he went on to the name of numerous contributors he said were on the list. They included Bandar and other members of the Saudi royal family, such as Prince Turki Al Faisal, Prince Al-Walid bin Talal and Prince Mohammed Al-Faisal. Questions have been long raised about Bandor's possible ties with 9/11. More than a decade ago, it was reported that his wife, Princess Haifa, had for some time sent a monthly check of $2,000 to the wife of Osama Assad, a suspected Saudi agent and alleged Al-Qaeda sympathizer who FBI records identified as a close associate of Omar al-Bawmi, another apparent Saudi agent who provided financial and other support for two 9/11 hijackers in San Diego 2000. The 28 pages included new information about the matter, saying that FBI agents who searched Bassan's home found copies of 31 cashless checks payable to Bassan's wife totaling $74,000 were drawn on the rigged bank account of Prince Bandar's wife. The checks from February 1999 to May 30, 2002 were supposed to be for nursing services, but there is no evidence that Bassan's wife provided nursing services. The pages also said that Prince Bandar himself sent checks directly to Bassan and his wife. Those checks cashed in 1998 were for $15,000 and $10,000. FBI Executive Assistant Director Pasquale D'Amore told Congress on October 9, 2002, what the money was for is what we don't know. There's some related posts in here as well, on the 28 pages and all that, so you can really look this for yourself. You know, hey man, it's always a connection. Okay, and I'll be very sincere. And what they're looking for now is maybe some patsies. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, there's a wink link, $5 million on this gentleman's head. Bounty on his head. So you know what? Yeah, he's just another wink link. Cut him loose. He's expected. So how far this rabbit hole goes? A lot deeper than you and I know. And to be, that's what I was saying, right now, 16 years, officially 16 years of myself, a 9/11 truther, unofficially, without no bragging rights by any means. But you always have to see things a lot broader than what it is. That's a big question. Okay, so you gotta get this person. You gotta get this person. Who's gonna be next on the list? Hey, you have to always see things a lot broader, and hopefully, and I pray that justice will be done for the brothers and sisters who are the victims of this horrific event. And it's just something else, my friends. Who's hiding what? Correct? Have all these little interviews and keep everything secret, even for Jihad, Salam, Mustafa. Yeah, exactly. He's exceptional as well, right? Absolutely. Okay, so next thing we're gonna go. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, this one just came out. This post, that activist post, and originally from I think Free Thought Project. No, Anti-Media. But they like to share links, so be easier here. It goes, accused of war crimes, Saudi Arabia investigates themselves and finds no wrongdoing. Exceptional. They can do it, but I can do it, but you can't. Exceptional. Alright, let's just see what Kerry Wilder has to say about this. Amid international call for an independent inquiry into Saudi war crimes in Yemen, the kingdom has investigated itself and found it has done nothing wrong. Oh yeah, we just did it for humanitarian efforts. I can dream about it. Immunity will make us innocent. Countries including China, the Netherlands, and Canada have pushed forward with the UN Human Rights Council draft resolution to establish an independent investigation into Saudi war crimes against civilians in the small war-torn nation of Yemen. This week, Human Rights Watch also accused the coalition of committing war crimes. Though these allegations have been circulating and documented for years, little has been done to stop the Saudi attacks and the Saudis and their U.S. and Arab allies have worked to undermine efforts to uncover wrongdoing. The minimal efforts made towards accountability, they're in the kitchen, minimal efforts made towards accountability over the past years are insufficient to respond to the gravity of continuing and daily violations involved in this conflict. UN Human Rights Chief Zeid Ra'ad al-Hussein said in Geneva this week, the UN has documented 5,144 civilian deaths, mainly from the Saudi-led coalition. The Saudis said they did not object to the current push for the inquiry, but claimed it was bad timing. According to Abdulaziz al-Wasil, Saudi Arabia's ambassador to Geneva, with no objection to the inquiry itself. We have a discussion about the timing, whether this is the right time to establish an international commission with the difficulties on the ground, and we knew in advance that we will face tremendous obstacles in terms of access. In the meantime, Saudi government has set up its own panel to investigate potential war crimes and misconduct. Trust us, we'll be honest. Please. Reuters reported on Saudi's panel findings, noting it concluded that a series of deadly airstrikes largely was justified, citing the presence of armed militiamen at homes, schools, and clinics that were targeted. Reuters continued. The Joint Incident Assessment Team said on Tuesday it had discovered mistakes in only 3 of 15 instances it reviewed. It maintained the coalition has enacted in accordance with international humanitarian law. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has long been running the coalition fighting in Yemen as the country's defense minister, a title he still retains. Yeah, he's special, of course. Glamour man. I want the world to revolve around me. The panel's legal advisor, Masao al-Mahad al-Mazau, told journalists this week that in one example, the Saudi coalition struck a water-welling drill after mistaking it for a ballistic missile launcher. However, the Saudis have been criticized for the long-standing pattern of targeting critical infrastructure such as agriculture, warehouses, and hospitals. It is far more than 15 instances. Doctors Without Borders MSF claimed in early 2016 that the Saudis attacked hospitals. More than 100 instances ultimately scared Yemenis away from seeking medical help. The coalition has also been implicated in the cholera epidemic that has affected over half a million people since April. The United States and the United Kingdom are complicit in this targeting of Yemen, which the Saudis view as a proxy war against Iran as they attempt to reinstate a former ruler who was ousted by Houthi rebels, a group they are now fighting. There is minimal evidence that Iran is backing the Houthis. In addition to arming the Saudis with billions of dollars worth of weapons which are being used to commit the alleged war crimes in Yemen, the Western nations have military officials in the Saudi command room and control of airstrikes. British officials even scheme with the Saudis to approximately secure the repressive regime spot on the UN's Human Rights Council. The U.S. remained a staunch Saudi backer at the UN as well, expressing opposition to the independent inquiry introduced this week. Like Saudi Arabia, the U.S. has brushed off civilian casualties at the hands of their military and accusing the Saudis of war crimes this week. Human Watch also called on U.S. lawmakers to curb the killing, they wrote. So far, the U.S. government has been content to keep weapons to ready flowing, so as long as Saudi Arabia pretends it's been fighting a clean war. But its empty promises have proved devastating and deadly for Yemeni civilians. Congress should make clear the U.S. is no longer willing to be complicit in Saudi war crimes, which I agree. This is totally unacceptable and condemned with a passion. Some people still buy that crap about it's okay for Saudi Arabia to do. Shut up. Sick of your nonsense anyway and your brainwashed rhetoric. baseless viewpoints. Good people in Yemen are getting smeared unjustifiably. You can say whatever you want. You can call me a dickhead for all I care. Don't bother me one bit. But the truth of the matter is, this has been going on for a very long time. It's been proven time and time again that a lot of these weapons and these weaponry was exported from the United States and Britain to Saudi Arabia. Now hear guys like Glanville and Marco Rubio criticizing Saudi Arabia on human rights, but if it's Cuba, he just climaxes, do a little penis dance with the fully erected. He's like, oh yeah, they got the Cubans have human rights violations, but Saudi Arabia, I don't have to say a word, because people like that are glamboyant. This is why I tell folks for a long time, we gotta stop this nonsense. Defy the military-industrial complex. Can't be a slave and go whatever. So I recommend folks out there petition to people in Washington. And let's see if they have the courage to say no more. Stand down. President Trump and his associates need to stand down on supplying Saudi Arabia these deadly weapons. Alright, well, I'll be back in a moment, so stay tuned. Alright, cool. I had to chill a little bit. And looks like some of the folks in Highland County, Florida, has issues with power as well. And it is disturbing, don't get me wrong. But I always tell folks, learn basic off-the-grid living. It'll be a good lesson to learn in these areas. So I'm not saying I have all the answers, but you gotta learn these things step by step. All right? Okay, so excuse me here. We're gonna hit this next one. This is in reference to civil asset forfeiture, and it's by Rachel Belvins from Free Thought Project. Of course, it's on Activist Post as well. It says here, bipartisan Congress puts Jeff Sessions in his place, shut down his expansion of civil asset forfeiture. While it's a rare occasion when group claiming to represent the will of the people actually votes accordingly, the House of Representatives voted in opposition of Attorney General Sessions' plan to expand civil asset forfeiture on Tuesday. Make America Secure and Prosperous Appropriations Act will now include Amendment 126, which restricts the use of federal government to use adaptive forfeiture. It is co-sponsored by a group of nonpartisan representatives, including Justin Amish, a Republican from Michigan, and Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat from Hawaii. If I'm correct, Ms. Gabbard is a member of the Council of Foreign Relations, so you gotta keep your eye on her, okay? You can look it up too on the membership's website. About to speak on the floor in support of my amendment to rein in unconstitutional civil asset forfeiture, Angus wrote on Twitter, "We must defend our rights." About to speak on the House floor in support of my amendment to rein in unconstitutional civil asset forfeiture, we must defend our rights. He's correct. Gabbard noted that she co-sponsored the bill because it was yet another area where AG Sessions must be stopped in his unconstitutional attempts to expand civil asset forfeiture. I'll be on the House floor soon with Justin Amash urging support for a bipartisan amendment to stop AG Sessions' expansion of adaptive forfeiture. Gabbard wrote on Twitter, adaptive forfeiture allows state law enforcement to sidestep state laws and use federal law to seize people's property without conviction or charges. Burden of proving innocence is on the individual, not on law enforcement. Even if innocence proved, the property cash is not often returned. Yet it's called extortion, stealing. All right, it says here, and she has a couple of things on here too. On Twitter, she made those statements, which is very good. And it says here, defining civil asset forfeiture as a pecunious practice that throws due process out the window and allows permanent seizure on assets based on an extraordinarily low evidentiary standard. FreedomWorks.org noted that Amendment 126 seeks to prohibit the use of funds authorized by Division C from being used for adaptive seizures, through which state and local agencies can circumvent protective state laws to seek forfeiture of seized assets under federal forfeiture laws. Yeah, so these asswipes who support this civil asset forfeiture need to read Federalist Papers 46 by James Madison, including Hickory Dickory Doc Jeff Sessions on this topic. All right. Sessions announced a new policy to increase civil asset forfeiture in July, labeling as a means to better protect victims of crime and innocent property owners while streamlining the process to more easily dismantle criminal and terrorist organizations. Kinda, sort of, it's the only way. Kinda, sort of, will get us through the day. And I'll continue on here. As any of these law enforcement partners will tell you, as President Trump knows, well, civil asset forfeiture is a key tool that helps law enforcement to fund organized crime, take back ill-gotten gains, and prevent new crimes from being committed, and it weakens the criminal and the cartels. Yeah, simple. And the drug war, dummy. Even more importantly, it helps return property to the victims of crime. Civil asset forfeiture takes the material support of the criminals and instead makes it the material support of law enforcement funding. Priorities like new vehicles, bulletproof vests, opioid overdose reversal kits, and better training. In departments across this country, funds that were once used to take lives now being used to save lives. Huh? It's a bizarre world. However, as Free Thought Project has reported extensively, as the majority of the representatives in the House seem to understand, civil asset forfeiture has only led to more corruption. In fact, even one of the co-creators of the civil asset forfeiture program in the United States has said he thinks it should be abolished. Correct amundo, my friends. 3 decades ago, I helped create our civil asset forfeiture system. Now it's time to end it. Brad Case, former director of the U.S. Department of Justice Asset Forfeiture Office, said in February 2016. He knew what was happening. During the Reagan administration, I helped establish these programs because I believe they would quickly challenge these criminals' profits to fight against organized crime and drug cartels. Yet, over time, we have created a new bad incentive, policing for profit, out for the reach of the proper legislative budget process. The purpose of due process is to ensure that suspects are given a chance to prove their innocence. I just don't like what these people say. However, when police are given the power to confiscate cash, weapons, cars, and other possessions, the suspects they are targeting are assumed guilty to proven innocent. Even if the innocent is proven in court, their possessions that were stolen by the state are not always returned. Absolutely. So I'll let everyone know, fight this whole amendment, use Amendment 26, because I agree completely. This is completely unacceptable. And this has to stop. So, yes, I do support on ending the civil forfeiture and let Jeff Sessions know, hey, hillbilly, hickman, you're supporting thievery, you are a criminal. You're just like Mayor Ray Nagin when he made an announcement to confiscate farms and the people of New Orleans. Okay? So far as I'm concerned, if you're going to have that mindset, you're nothing more than a treasonous piece of garbage. However, you have the opportunity to reconsider and repent for this stupefied platform. And I'm glad people, as members of Congress, are calling them out on it. And another thing too, 10th Amendment stands for the states to do the same on civil asset forfeiture across the board. And that's happening too. So it looks like I'm going to be, just look up 10th Amendment Center.com under civil asset forfeiture. I put it on there plenty of times so you can look it for yourselves and do it on a state level. It's called checkmate. All right, my friends? Then you'll sit there and go, absolutely. If he don't like it, if his granddaughter, when she gets that certain age, have her stuff get confiscated, right? Or how about Jeff Sessions? If you get yourself confiscated, you have to prove your innocence, sir. So I don't buy this propaganda matrix you're trying to promote. It's dull, null and void. Rest in peace. 6 feet under into oblivion. Okay, finally, this is a reference to the state of Florida on Irma, and came from the activist post. Came out yesterday by Max Alpo. Originally, it came off of STHFplan.com. And this one is very morose. It says here, Florida farmers said Irma's damage is the worst they ever seen. Almost half of Florida's citrus crops were destroyed during the hurricane. When Florida farmers surveyed the damage caused by Hurricane Irma, also saying it's the worst destruction to their farms that they ever seen. When the worst of Irma's fury had passed, Gene McAvoy hit the road to inspect the citrus groves and vegetable fields in Florida. McAvoy, a specialist on vegetable farming at the University of Florida's Extension office in the town of LaBelle. LaBelle is located in the middle of the country's biggest concentration of vegetable and citrus farms. According to NPR, the storm made a direct hit to those fields. The eye wall came right over our main production area. They've always said Irma had destroyed half the citrus crops in the central Florida area, meaning the prices are likely to go up sharply. May destroyed groves of oranges and grapefruit actually approached harvest too, but Irma blew through. It left 50 or 60% of the fruit lying in water or on the ground, says McAvoy. Many trees were standing in water, a mortal danger if their roots stay submerged for longer than 3 or 4 days. About a quarter of the country's sugar production comes from the field of sugar cane near Lake Okeechobee, just east of LaBelle. Harvest season for the sugar crop is only a few weeks away, but Irma knocked much of the cane down, making it more difficult to harvest. We know the exact extent of the loss until it's harvest, McAvoy says. Fortunately for the vegetable farms, most had yet to be planted, so destruction was minimal. But that won't help the destroyed citrus produce. For example, the strawberry crops had not been planted when Irma struck. Some of the plastics laid in anticipation for planting was ruined. However, growers can repair the damage that was done and plant the strawberries on schedule. It's probably the worst hurricane that we ever see, McAvoy says. Although he says Wilma in 2005 was nearly as damaging, it's not just a good day in Florida today, says Lourdes Villanueva, who works with the Redlands Christian Migrant Association, which provides services for farm workers in the state. Villanueva says the storm destroyed many trailers and other houses where workers live. The ones where the roof didn't go, trees fell on them, she says. Farmers also worry that migrant workers won't want to come to the farms if there is no housing, and many are just rubble now after the encounter with Irma. Crop damage will affect a large part of the United States, and the price paid for citrus fruits at the grocery store is likely to go up. And it's nothing new. It's just very disheartening to see that. And it is just part of life. So expect these prices to go up. Even, try to shop more locally too, make it better deals. So, my brothers and sisters up there, I know I have a friend of mine that lives in Sebring. He felt a big effect as well on that hurricane. So, my friends, hope for the best. That's why don't complain. Don't take things for granted. And if you want to complain and don't want to take action, then shut up. This is part of Mother Nature, my friends. And hey, if you haven't continued urban farming, try to do things more locally. All right. And that is all in that area. And I gotta make this little comment because this is a reference to the show yesterday I did. I got a YouTube comment from Ron Paul. Current defense budget hands a special Space has hands SpaceX a monopoly. Why? And of course, I did my intake on it. And this one gentleman named Vince Anthony says SpaceX is the cheapest company to launch anything in the U.S. Dickhead. You know what? Thank you. I'm inspired, Mr. Anthony. So I'm just wondering if you're a troll, a shareholder of this company, or both. But when I hear comments like this, I can't get offended. I'm flattered. So that is it. I thank everyone out there. Thanks for listening, but feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or something interesting and you want to check out, whatever you do, please feel free on sharing your cards. Send your correspondence with the forum. Hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Scene.lifeminds.com, FutureNet.club, or Patreon.com/LuckyLuck3 with 3 eyes. If you want to be a donor and all that, that'd be great. Sponsor, that'd be nice. Oh, thank you. In addition, you can email me at LuckyLuck3@gmail.com or the encrypted one, LuckyLuck03@protonmail.com. Alright, my friends, that's all for now. Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.